Hi, my name's Kim LeBeau, and today I'm going to be showing you some tips on how to create this beautiful watercolor wreath. You will need a compass or something round to trace, a white ink pen. I'm using a Signo Uniball white ink pen, a micron pen in 05, an eraser. I'm using Princeton Snap Round sizes 6 and 12 paintbrushes, a paper towel, and some good watercolor paper, and of course watercolors. You'll also need 2 water containers, one to rinse your brush with and one to load your brush with. Okay, let's get started. The first thing I want to show you is how to make leaves. You can use, I'm using a size 6 round brush. You can use a size 6 or size 12. You're going to do a stem in kind of a quick motion like this, okay? You're going to load your brush, touch the stem, push down using the belly of your brush, pull up to the tip. You'll do the same thing on the other side. Touch the stem a little lower than where you started the first time. So right about here, push down, pull up. It's nice to leave a little white spot there sometimes. Let's try it again. Use the belly of your brush, push down and pull up. Other side, down and up. And one more time. Down, up, down, up. These little white places along here suggest that your brush may be too dry. So let's try it one more time. This suggests that I don't have enough paint in my brush. So I'm going to reload and go over it. I'm going to extend my stem. There you go. That's how you make a leaf. You can make leave these little white spots or close them up, whichever you like. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about a wreath, the anatomy of the wreath. Wreaths most of the time are round in shape, though not always. We're going to be making a round wreath. If you can visualize this wreath without these stems, these little twigs right here, it would look similar to this, so that this part would be open. This is an open wreath. The beginning of the wreath starts here, ends here on an open wreath. I'll show you how to close it in with the twigs, but if you'd like to leave it open, if you prefer that look, you can leave it that way. At the start of your wreath, you will have, your leaves will be smaller, they'll get gradually larger, and then they'll start tapering down to small again at the end of your wreath. So to get started, let's make a circle to be the base of our wreath. I am going to use a compass. You can use a glass or a plate or a bowl, just something round that you can trace. I'm going to erase this right here so I know where the start of my wreath is and the ending. And then I'm going to pick two colors. I am going to choose Artistic Isle. I use Artistic Isle watercolors. I'm going to choose Sky Blue and Goldenrod to start with. So, for time's sake, I have created steps for this video, and we'll be doing abbreviated steps. So I'm going to just do a small wreath, just like I just showed you. I'm creating, this is the beginning of the wreath, so I'm staying small right now. I'm going to place these scattered along the line of the wreath here. But I'm not going to be perfect with my leaves. They won't all face, they'll be growing in the same direction, but they won't all be perfect. Some will fall down into the middle of the wreath like this. Just gives it a nice natural effect. And I'll continue all the way around until I get here, where I will do a small set of leaves again. Okay, so once I get this done, I'm going to continue this, adding some gold in here, some goldenrod. I'll continue this until it looks something like this. Okay? Once you get to this point, you can add a couple more colors. I'm going to use Genuine Japanese Slate here, which is a pretty gray, and then also Midnight, which is black. I'm going to start with the lighter color. And I will look at my wreath and I'll kind of see where the holes are. I see one here. I want every color, I typically like to have every color represented at the beginning and the end. Well, all throughout the leaf really, but I mean the wreath, sorry. I like to have each color represented at the beginning and the end of the wreath, and pretty much all throughout. So if it helps you to start with the smaller leaves, you can do all those first and then begin to fill in around the wreath. If you are using Artistic Isle watercolors, she uses Genuine Japanese Slate to create this color, and if you can see the granulation in this paint, don't let that bother you. When it is dry, you'll be able to just brush those flakes off. You'll never know they were there. And add your Midnight in. Once you get your, I got the wrong color. Let me get to the right color here. There we go. Add your fourth color and just fill in your wreath all the way around until it begins to look like this. Okay, once you get to this point, you're going to need to know how to make stems or twigs or whatever you want to call it. You're going to need two colors of brown, a light brown or a tan, and a darker brown. I will be using walnut, which looks like this right here. I'm sorry, I changed my mind. I'm going to be using birch right here and antique hickory, or maybe some mission oak. Mission oak is a very dark brown that I really like. So the way I make my twigs, I want them to kind of look dead. So I just kind of make a squiggly line pulling up at the end of my twig with water. Okay, do that again. Make my squiggly line come up. Make a branch out. And then I will add my brown, starting with the lightest color. I am starting with teak or birch or possibly some walnut. Just touch your water lightly and let it kind of run. The water creates a little stream for your color to run through. That's just the beauty of watercolor. It just does it naturally. Okay, so that we have to let dry for a little bit. So let's go ahead and create those stems on our wreath, and then I'll show you, once that dries, I'll come back and show you how to enhance it with some shadowing. So I'm going to create some branches that just kind of start at the base of the wreath, which is the line we drew, the circle that we drew. Just a little hint of it coming out here. Go ahead and fill it in. You just have to touch your water and it'll usually just spread out if you've used enough water. Okay, and just add that. I think I want to extend this one a little bit. It's okay to cross over. It looks realistic that way. Go ahead and fill in your wreath with your branches here. Okay, so not always, but to start off with, a kind of a good rule is to go have the first twig go, you can decide, inside the wreath or outside the wreath, and then whatever the next one you do will be the opposite. So I have inside, growing inside the wreath, this one's growing outside. My next one will grow inside. This, you can do it this way too, where you just do wet on dry, which is a watercolor technique. Once you get all of your branches drawn, go ahead and go through and fill in with touches of your brown, your lighter brown, throughout your wreath where your circle is that is showing. It's not covered by a leaf or a branch. Okay. If you want to close your wreath, go ahead and create some branches. I usually use 2 on smaller wreaths. Aesthetically, I think it looks better. you know, you want them to be wiggly lines, curvy, kind of knotty branches. Not naughty, knotty. Same here. Okay. Now coming back to, you know, you'll finish this all the way around. Go all the way around with it. I didn't do that for time's sake. But this is still not dry all the way, but I'm going to show you anyway what I mean. You get your darker brown, touch the branch at the joints, okay, like that. And when it dries even more, or you can also do this. This is a technique I like to use right alongside the light. Pick one side and just line it with the darker. Not all the way, you want to leave some blank spaces so it looks realistic. Okay, you can also go back and dot, but you need to be drier. So that creates a pretty realistic looking branch. Okay, so when you're done, you'll have something that looks similar to this. And it still looks a little rough. So to kind of smooth it out, pull it all together, fill it in, I like to sometimes use berries. And I will be using a deep wine sort of color called, I think I'm going to use Red as Stilby. It's a dark red right here. And you just kind of look at your wreath, and where do you see holes? I see some here. I'll probably put a few in here where it's kind of open. Here, because there's a big gap here that doesn't have anything, and probably fill in here. Just look throughout wherever you see holes. Load your brush and fill in those holes. I'm going to start here because this is the biggest one that I see. And I usually will start, you know, on the bigger holes I'll do 3. Odd numbers usually look better, but it's okay to do evens too. I'm going to put one here. Different sizes, some a little bigger, some a little smaller. Since this has berries right here, I do want to put some here, but it's so close together, I'll probably only do 1 or possibly 2. Or maybe I'll make this one 1 and I'll add 1 up here. And now I have quite a few consistently placed throughout my wreath, except at the bottom down here, which I will fix here with just maybe 1 or 2. Okay, and I'm liking the way that's looking. I might add you might consider adding one there. I feel like that would be too heavy with berries, but you might add another wreath right here. I'm sorry, another leaf. I keep getting leaf and wreath interchangeable. Let's see, they are not. But if you add a wreath there, it's gonna fill it in a little. My brush is too dry, but it'll be okay. Kind of like that. Okay. Okay, so once this is dry, we can begin detailing our wreath. By detailing, you can choose to leave it like this. This is absolutely beautiful. It's kind of my jam to detail on wreaths. So I just pick out leaves that I don't outline all of them. I will outline and draw a little stem connecting it to the base of the wreath. I don't like to have floating leaves on my wreaths usually. You might catch one or two occasionally every once in a while. I like to outline the ones that I'm not completely happy with the shape of them. Like this one, I don't like that it doesn't have a point here. So I'm going to outline it. And give it a point. Okay, so once I get, I'll just do sporadically throughout the wreath. Then I'll go back through and I'll decide which ones I want to add some cute details to. You can do a one-sided detail like this. You can do just a line. And you can do lines on both sides. Okay, there's a couple more I'll show you. Another thing that I like to do, I don't always like to put my line in the middle. I like to make it off to the side so that it looks a little more realistic. I'm filling in this one because on this one I didn't draw my branches where they should be. Okay, so I like to do this one. This one's fun, where I create a thick black line, thin, thick, thin. Same thing on the other side, thin, thick. I just like the way it looks. I think that's cute. Another one you can do, and this will be the last one, will be like this. That's kind of fun. Okay. You'll want to go ahead and outline your berries. These are still a little wet. I'll do the dry ones so you can see what I like to do with them. You can detail your berries too if you want to. I wouldn't do every one, but maybe 1 to 3 on each wreath is good. Okay, so I've got these 3 outlined and they need to be connected to my wreath. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my line, my stem, sorry, like that. Then I will take my white detailer and I will visualize the sunlight coming from this direction, or you can do this direction, but I like, I don't know. Today I'm doing this direction. So I picture the light making a reflection right up here on my berries. And I will do that on all of them. They're just not dry yet. But at the end, it will look something like this. And you can letter something in the middle of it to finish it off and make it yours. Personalize it. Write your name or a scripture or something kind in the middle of it and enjoy it. Give it as a gift. Make a card. Put it in your home. When you do it, if you try it, please tag me at lovelettered, love__lettered, and use the hashtag Wreathing It My Way. I hope you guys try it. I hope you have a great time doing it, and I hope you will show me. Have a blessed day.